for the lady to say her thing. But no, you know what, Ritesh, it's never a waste of time. That's why we're doing this, because this can offer such incredible information and enlightenment for people that maybe have never explored it before. So I'm very pleased to introduce you to those who haven't met you yet. This is my friend, my new friend, Ritesh Shukla. And he is coming to us live from India. I'm not sure exactly which part he's in, but he's smack dab there. And so he's like 11, are you like 11 hours ahead of us here?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
I think you're like 11 hours ahead of us here, I believe.
Yes,
Something to that.
yes, yes.
So it's
Yes, it is 12 a.m. in the morning. So I have already entered into the 22nd of August. And so, yeah, you know, as I think there's some sound issues because you are breaking up a bit.
Okay. All right. Bear with me here. Um, just going to bring her in. Can you hear me clearly now?
Uh, kind of. That I think
Hold
I
on.
should be
I think I know what the problem is. Just one moment. Bear with me,
okay.
folks.
Okay.
I realize now I've just, and I'm not sure how we're doing, if I've lost anybody, if I'm frozen, if I've frozen everybody. Are we still okay?
You're okay now.
Yeah, I wondered as such. So that's why I'm not on my laptop, because I have Wi-Fi issues and I don't have a strong enough signal in my office to actually hold these Zoom conferences or these Zoom calls without freezing. So I'm on my phone. So apologies, I had to let go of the Wi-Fi on my phone in favor of my data. So there we are. We're good. And we have a new, we have a nice little group here today, Ritesh. These are lovely people. I think
Yeah,
you,
lovely.
yeah, I might even know a couple of them already. Today we're going to discuss Vedic astrology and how it differs from Western astrology, because I'd like to introduce people to you, Ritesh, because um, these readings are not like Western astrology in any shape, in any way, or any form. I have to say, your readings in particular seem to be very life changing for people, very much a very impactful experience. And I know that those who I've spoken to after they've had sessions with you would quite agree with that. And so profound these readings can be, and leading us into places we'd never anticipated ourselves going. So can you elaborate a little bit? First of all, let's introduce you to the people. So tell us a little bit about yourself, please, Ritesh, and then tell us how you came to do this and what we can expect out of Vedic astrology.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much for the kind introduction, Brenda. So basically, I work as a journalist. I work as a news editor for one of the largest newspaper and news media house here in India professionally. Astrology has been something present in my family. I don't know how far it goes in the past. Um, I was introduced to the Vedic astrology by my maternal grandfather. Um, so he was a major in mathematics as well as a major in astrology. So um, and so basically, he introduced me to this uh, knowledge very early, when I was just maybe 7 or 8 years old. Um, and so while I was progressing in my school, especially in science and mathematics, I could see a lot of correlation between astrology, because that is also specifically Vedic astrology is very heavily dependent on mathematics, so um, so my studies kept on going on, and then I passed out of my university with a major in comparative language and linguistics. And then I did law and worked for some American companies like Amazon, and I'm talking about joining Amazon in the year 2001, when hardly anybody knew about Amazon, and worked with Dell and then Hanover Insurance. Spent a couple of years in Worcester, a city near Boston, and then I came back here to my place. I'm in the central part of India. It is a city called Bhopal, very pretty city, nice little hamlet. Um, so I kept on studying astrology for my own mental peace and satisfaction. And in the meantime, I met a friend of Diane, um, and he was kind of interested in astrology. And so he asked me, and he got to know that I am a student of astrology by choice. So he was the first man actually to give me the opportunity to do calculations for him. And then he was impressed and he started referring uh, people. And that's when I met Diane. So by word of mouth, it just started moving on. And I got kind of interested in doing those readings. I had never ever imagined in my life that I would ever be doing any reading for live people. Uh, but strange are the ways of this world. You bump into some opportunities, friends come together, and a journey began. And especially it kind of progressed leaps and bounds during the COVID time period, because that's when people were kind of very, very terrified. And they had a lot of health concerns, a lot of fears about losing jobs. And the most important question which came across to me was, what is going to happen to their kids? And will they succeed in their relationships? Why are they facing so many challenges in their relationships, and so on and so forth? So as a student, when I started doing those calculations, and when those new friends of mine, they started feeling some peace and some clarity as to how should they be using their consciousness. So, and here I would like to say a couple of, spend some time on what basically Vedic astrology is. So I'm moving beyond who I am, what I have been doing, to now what basically Vedic astrology tries to do. Um, it is not fortune telling. It is not trying to do calculations into what is going to be your luck. It basically tries to calculate sections of your life. And this is where Western astrology and Indian astrology have some similarities. And thereafter, it diverges into two different paths. So, like in Western astrology as well, you would see that there are 12 zodiacs. So basically, every human being born in this world will be born at a particular place on a particular date and at a particular time. So this is the triangle, you know. And from this triangle, Western astrology fires a chart, and it is from the same triangle Vedic astrology fires a chart. But the difference is that in the Western astrology, the calculations are based on movement of sun. But in Vedic astrology, the calculations are based on the movement of moon. So what do I mean when I say movement of sun and moon? So this, the correlation between Earth's and sun's movement is such that we get 12 months. So it's a circular movement. So there is a total of 360 degrees. So sun spends 30 days in one particular zodiac. And so to complete one revolution, it takes 12 months to complete one full revolution. And that's how a complete 1 year comes into picture. So Western astrology tries to predict on the basis of sun's movement, which is 30 to 31 days on a month-to-month basis. Vedic astrology moves a bit further, and it bases its calculations on the basis of moon's movement. And moon is a faster moving planet. And by saying planet, I mean astrologically. And so the definition of planet in astronomy is slightly different than what it is in astrology. Let's not enter into that. The fact is that moon takes 2.5 days to complete those 12 zodiacs. So the calculation is far more precise, you know, and it is strange. As I said, I have been a student of comparative language and linguistics as well. I was amused by this fact that the word hour, HOUR, which is a compilation of 60 minutes rolled into 1 hour, that word comes from the Greek word hora. And in Vedic astrology as well, the whole study of impact of planetary bodies and its energies on an individual, it is also known as the science of hora. So God knows what happened in the past, how this hora, the word of Sanskrit, and the hora, the word of Greek, came together. Did India borrow it from Greeks, or did Greek scientists borrow it from India? We just don't know, you know. So Vedic astrology basically takes calculations into account and breaks the whole year into 12 zodiacs, just as Western astrology. Just as Western astrology, Vedic astrology also breaks a human being's life into 12 sections. So 12 sections are uh, what is the nature of your body physically? What is the nature of your mentality? And what is the nature of your intuition, which we call soul, you know? That is the first section of astrology. And this is where the commonality between Western astrology and Vedic astrology kind of ends. So the sections of life, starting from your body to the family that you are born in, to your siblings, to your comfort, where you are feeling comfortable, like starting with the womb of the mother to the house where parents are protecting the kid, to the education, to how much struggle you will do, what is going to happen to your body's health, and how will be your relationship, how long will your life be, why are you born on this earth, what is your destiny, what will be your career, how will be the nature of fulfillment of your desires, and how will you pass from this world to the another. These are the 12 sections in which Western astrology as well as Vedic astrology divides or uh, uh, categorizes a life into these 12 sections. How Vedic astrology differs is, in Western astrology, primacy is given to how planets are placed and how they are looking at each other, how they are aspecting each other. All that is there in Vedic astrology, but mathematical calculations enter into Vedic astrology to give a figure, a mathematical number to every section of the life, which actually gives us an understanding as to what is your challenge areas. So, which sections of your life you will have to struggle, however hard you may work, and still you might feel challenges, and which are the sections in your life where the slightest of your effort will yield best possible results. This whole body of calculation was, uh, it came into effect keeping a child into the center of the thought process and consciousness. So basically, in Vedic astrology, the child is given the most important prominence. So even before a child could be conceived, a man and a woman's charts are compared to see if they are right partners to enter into a relationship. Because if they are not, then the child that they will produce will not have a fulfilling life on this earth. So that is the reason why even still, even now in India, I mean, majority of the marriages are finalized by comparing the charts first. So the partners in relationship, they are made aware as to what their struggle areas are individually and what their struggle areas are as a couple, and what their strength segments are individually and as a couple, so they can adjust their expectations from each other. And that's when calculations help the couple, the date and time even, to consummate their marriage and produce a kid. And when the child is born, then chart of the child is formed to have an understanding as to what kind of inclination the child has, how should he or she be parented, where, how much of discipline or how much of uh, leg room should be given to child in which sections of his or her life. Basically, what kind of career he should be aspiring to, And therefore, basically, initially, the Vedic astrology was primarily practiced to ensure that children are convinced to practice a certain profession and for which they should enter a certain kind of a training. Now, The word for child in Sanskrit is shishu, which basically means to grow physically, mentally, and spiritually. So Vedic astrology attempts to present a map of your life as to which are the sections of your life where you should be careful and where you should be uh, adventuring out, where you can take risks. So basically, where you should protect yourself and where you should afford to take risks. So this is one part of the Vedic astrology. And the second and very important part of Vedic astrology enters into the physical health, the physical and mental health, you know. So it's strange that um, generally, even we see today, depression as an illness is generally prevalent in prosperous class of the society. So those who are prosperous may not find a lot of um, inclination to act upon something because they are not forced to do it, because of which they have the probability of entering into depression of sorts. And those who are not prosperous will work, will put the body energy into use so much that they might overdo it, and therefore they might acquire some physical body related illnesses and sicknesses. And that's how the whole sphere of Ayurveda came into uh, effect. So when a child is born, on the basis of his charts and the combination of planetary energies, one is able to understand what kind of body related illnesses this particular child may face in the future. And
Huh.
so, what should be his or her lifestyle so as to avoid those kind of illnesses? And so, when should you wake up? What kind of food you should take? What kind of drinks you should consume? Will they help you in your bodily health, or will it affect negatively to your bodily health? So even before a, a, a a medicine is prescribed to a particular person, his charts are looked into so as to understand which kind of medicine will be actually helpful to the person and which kind of medicine will not. So, in a nutshell, basically, uh, this is what Vedic astrology does. And Brenda, if you allow, I can just show your instincts chart as an example to actually show what those segments are and how those mathematical equations inform us, you know?
Absolutely. Just a moment here. There we
Okay,
go.
so I will just
There you go.
give me 1 minute. Let me find that out.
We'll host at some point.
I hope something is visible here.
Hmm. Yes, if we can see it. I can see it anyway. I'm trusting the others can as well. There's my life, people. Right there. It was fascinating. The reading was fascinating, I have to say. That's why I'm doing this with Ritesh today. And we're going to have other Zooms as well. But carry on, Ritesh. Tell them what they're seeing.
Bang. Yeah, so as I was suggesting, these are basically the 12 sections, you know. So I start the calculation from debt, sickness, enemies. So any human being who is born on this earth is destined to have experiences related to these 12 sections. And I start the calculations from the debt, sickness, enemies. Why? Because if I am facing challenges, generally I am forced to borrow money from friends or from banks, family, etc. And if I am unable to pay that debt, and if I am being forced to pay that debt, I enter it into sickness. And when sickness and debt both are existing, one tends to beget enemies. So, how will that be a situation? That has an effect immediately on the relationship between man and wife. And will I get some help from my father or from my mother? So, how long my life will be, and will I inherit problems from my parents, or will I inherit some help from my parents? So that is the life and inheritance, the third section. And because it is so closely related to father and the spiritual aspect, because generally the mother and father also introduces the kid into their own spiritual mentality, their own spiritual practices. For some, for majority, the spiritual practice is of related to one religion or the other. But for the educated ones, that spiritual practice may go beyond religion. And so these four aspects basically impacts upon the mother. So today in the modern life, women have become independent. They are able to take their own decisions. But the time in the ancient times when these kind of scriptures were being formulated, women were not that empowered. So how the woman or basically the mother will behave with the kid will depend upon her comfort, how comfortable she is in the home. So if you see second last from below, there is a section called comfort and mother. So that comfort and how comfortable the mother is will determine how comfortable will she be able to keep the kid. And on that basis, the profession of the person gets formulated. On that basis, the capability to earn profits comes into picture. On the basis of the profits, the investment and the savings will enter into question. So what is going to be your loss? What is going to be your expenditure? You know, and all that will, whether you will be able to uh, manage all those things bodily and by the use of your mind. So the body and mind comes into the picture as well. And therefore, family earnings and savings, will you help the family to earn better, or will you cut down on the family's earnings and savings? Will you squander it? That will depend upon your social strength. What kind of friends do you keep? It basically starts with how you behave with your siblings, and then you enter into the social world where you have friends like siblings, you know. That is why the best brothers and sisters are the friends, not necessarily the blood related siblings, you know. And finally, what kind of children will you produce, and what kind of creativity will you bring into your life and through your life to your kids? These are basically the 12 sections. And if you see, for each section, there is a score. So these four sections for Brenda: the relationship, the life and inheritance, the family earnings and savings, and social strength. These are the four sections in Brenda's life where even slightest of her efforts can yield her beautiful results. But go on contrary, on the father and religious destiny section, she is scoring the lowest. So that's where she might face a lot of challenges. And beyond that, interestingly, so basically what I'm saying is any score over and above 30 is an excellent score. Any score below 25 is a low score. Any score which is 25 is average. 26, 27 is good. 28, 29 is very good. 30 and beyond is excellent. And then on the side, there is a rank. So you might be born with a lot of talent, but are you able to make use of that talent? That's something that this particular section rank is giving us. So this helps us. So if I had known Brenda when she was maybe 9 years old, I would have told her that do whatever you do, but work to enhance your network, and don't bother about your father. Stick to your mother. She is a better guide for you than your father.
She was.
And stick to your friends. Give importance to your friends even more than your father. And your relationship is going to be good. Whoever you like, you are going to enjoy him. And he is going to enjoy you too. It's going to be a long life, Brenda. So do whatever you want to do, but have a big picture in life. Don't waste your time and energies and efforts in small little trifles. But I met Brenda when I met her, you know, uh, but still, I mean, even now, if we get to know our strength areas and the weakness areas, and if we manage our expectations accordingly, we will find that we can minimize our mental, physical, spiritual challenges, and we can maximize our satisfaction that we can draw out of our actions, conscious actions in our life. So this is where Vedic astrology, it has kind of added a little bit of precision to by deploying mathematical calculations. I'm sorry to say, in India as well, majority of us, the Vedic astrologers, we don't much use these mathematical calculations because A, it is difficult to do. Uh, so if someone gives me his or her chart, I'm just unable to say anything on it before I can do 2 or 3 days of study on it, because the whole process of calculation actually helps you get to know the chart better. You become that person while when you are doing those calculations. So when I was doing these calculations, I was not me. I had become Brenda a little, you know.
Mm.
So I was, by doing these calculations, I was trying to live Brenda's life as if it were my own.
Wow.
And we also do a little bit of calculations on instincts as to what is our primary nature, the primary instinct, you know. So basically, in Vedic astrology, they say that whoever is born with a consciousness on this earth will have four uh, drivers, primary drivers, out of which some would be leading and some would be lagging. So basically, the first word dharma in English, it means righteousness. Artha means resourcefulness. Kama means passion. And moksha means relinquishing whatever that you have achieved. Basically, enlightenment, call it, or so on and so forth. You know, and there is a score here. So in case of Brenda, righteousness and resourcefulness is her primary driver. You know, so if I have someone like a Brenda in my community, and if I have to manage resources for my community, by looking at this chart, I would make Brenda the supervisor of resource management. Why? Because that's a strong area, and she has righteousness as a very strong influence as a primary driver. So which means that however prosperous the resource is, Brenda is not going to misuse it for her personal gains because her righteousness quotient is very high. And we also calculate as to what is the permutation and combination between soul, mind, impulse, reasoning, compassion, desire, and repentance. So these are the seven instincts that we do the calculations on. So these are the basic calculations. And after these calculations, do we enter into calculating those 12 sections. So in a nutshell, this is how I, as a student of Vedic astrology, uh, enter into the calculations. And these are the mathematical calculations on which I'm able to provide my 2 cents on your sections of your life.
Wow. That's excellent.
So
Thank you.
this is a very big topic. One can go on and on, uh, but I'll rest my case for now.
It's, I have to say, it's so in depth. It is absolutely so in depth. Um, and what you do, like the time you spend literally immersing yourself in the energy of that person. You know, that's a great way to put it. And that's obviously what you do. It never occurred to me that that's what you're, I mean, to me, I see you as calculating like a mathematician, but what you're saying is you literally embody, in a sense, the energy of the chart to kind of calculate out how the life is going to look. That's fascinating. That's way more than your average chart. It's way more than the average Western astrologer is going to provide, I think, or actually engage with. I think in the beginning they might have done that, but you know, over the last 3 or 4 decades, software is out. So they just punch your, you know, your information in and the software spits out a report. And not that that's not helpful by any means, it certainly is. They're wonderful. Some of them are very detailed and incredibly accurate. Um, but I love that you yourself get in there, and because as you're pulling into my energy, you're actually working it individually for me. And that's what I do with people is I read their energy and I read it from their standpoint rather than what a machine might have spat out or something of that nature. And don't get me wrong, I have had lots of wonderful reports, that have been very accurate over the years for myself and my children, even, beautiful gifts given to them at the time of their birth, in fact, which was very helpful at the time, and certainly, again, very detailed in a lot of information, um, but very different than what you offer. And I have to say, the the reading I had with you, Ritesh, was just mind blowing for me. It was truly mind blowing. So I'm grateful that you are able to do that, and that you are what I would consider in term to be a generational Vedic astrologer, someone who has learned it through family tradition and through the ancient and the honoring of the original ways of calculating and doing what's necessary. 3 4 hours, and to me, that again sets you into a completely different category for the reading, so I'm grateful for that too. And I want to tell people it's very much worth the investment. Like, that's not something you can just throw a small number on, and have people recognize the value that they're receiving in that investment. So, to me, what you provide is, again, well worth well worth, every bit that goes into it, from both sides. I can say, um, I will say, quite honestly, not just blow my mind, but change my life reading, like, beyond anything I've ever had before. And if you'd you know, told me some of the things you told me in any other way, maybe a few years prior, I wasn't ready to hear them, obviously. So everything happens in divine order, as I truly believe and know anyway. But that, the information that came from that, I probably would have just discarded it had it been any time prior to when I received it, was ready to hear it. But now it just fits in a way that I'm stunned. Like, I'm just stunned at where it's brought me and where it's leading me. So, that right there is why we're doing this call. Why I want to tell people about you, and I have sent you people, and I plan to send you many more, because they need to have that kind of experience with you too, where it just rocks their world a little bit. And I know it has. I know that the readings that, have, um, kind of come back to me and said, hey, I had my session with Ritesh, all came back with the whole, oh my gosh, I was not expecting that. So, yeah, I highly, highly do recommend. And I'd love, I'd like to let people know that we plan to have more conversations to maybe dive a little deeper and to offer people the opportunity to ask questions if they have it about the readings themselves. It's not something, obviously, that you can just, calculate quick willy-nilly on the spot, somebody's chart. But you yourself are incredibly intuitive, and having, the experience that you have doing what you do, I would think in some respect you could probably tune into what those calculations might look like in a split second, and maybe, offer a little bit of a little nugget there to draw them in, I would think. Because I found you very intuitive anyway. So, I'd like to, let people have a chance to get acquainted with you and to explore and have a reading with you, for sure, booking a reading with you. Um, yeah. So, is there anything else you wanted to say, in regards to your
Yeah,
readings?
thank you very much, Brenda. Basically, what I try to do is uh, I think of myself more like a translator, you know. So, uh, what I basically do is this compilation of ancient scriptures, which has the formulas, basically, um, it's a compendium of uh, ages and ages of research compiled together, you know. And when I make a chart, so instead of applying my biases into my understanding, I just go ahead and compare it to how the scriptures are suggesting. And by entering into the mathematical calculation, it gives me confidence uh, before I say anything. And when I'm doing the calculation, I can't help myself. Anybody cannot help. Any student of astrology can't help himself or herself. Instead of when you're doing the calculation, you actually relive the probable experiences the person would have gone through his or her whole life, and what kind of experiences he or she might experience in the future. And this is where there's a slight difference between Western and Vedic astrology, that uh, the timing aspect, that is also calculation based. So as you said, 3 years ago, if I had told you something, you wouldn't have accepted it because that time was not right. But you are able to accept it now because you are into that time. And this is the another aspect of Vedic astrology, that it kind of tunes you to the months and the years ahead. So it's more like a, a route map as to how you would like to lead your life. What are the things that you should avoid, and what are the things you should just press the gas on and move. So going forward, I think I'll be very, very interested in having discussions around um, astrology. If someone like you who is interested in knowing more, we can rather enter into small bits and pieces of informations, uh, a series of discussions, and if I get an opportunity like that, it'll it'll make me very, very happy.
Awesome. Well, I'd like to make you very happy. Let's
Thank you
do
very
that.
much.
Let's
I
have
could
some.
see Lisa was there. I had done a reading with Lisa as well. Um,
Did you? Yeah.
that was also a very interesting reading with Lisa. And
Yeah. So I'm very grateful. You mentioned her earlier, pardon me, and I would like to say that it is through my dear, dear friend Diane Hill that I come to know you, Ritesh, and so I am truly grateful for her. And she has also, yeah, as you saw, Lisa was here, and that she has certainly introduced you as well to many people already as well, and which is what I hope to do because I think you're one of the best kept secrets that we need to tell everybody about, because I can tell people that honestly, I never I really wouldn't have anticipated my life going the way it's going, or that I was even ready to think about what it is that my chart sort of revealed to me through you. And now I'm floored, and I'm excited, and I'm so excited about what's going to happen and what I'm about to really um, embark on here. So um, I'm excited. I'm excited. Lynn, stay tuned. You're gonna love what's coming. I'm telling you, you're gonna love what's coming next.
yeah,
You
thank you very much. And you are going to have a very nice time, at least for the next 45 days, because your Venus has just entered your Cancer sign, and which is your body, mind, and spirit. So, starting today, go out and try to, you will feel good. You know, opulence is going to be important in your life, in your looks, in your how you feel, in your spiritual aspects. It is going to be a very luxurious kind of feeling for the next 45 days. So enjoy yourself big
oh,
time.
I've I certainly plan to. My goodness me. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. I'm just going to ask, actually, if you don't mind. I'm just because there's just the one of us, other one person on here. Lynn, do you have a question or anything you'd like to ask Ritesh? Before we kind of wrap this up, or are you good? You're good. Or
No.
did you have a
Oh,
question?
I always have questions, Brenda.
Well, bring
Um,
him on. Ritesh,
what
this
I'm
is
thinking
I
is,
love when we have a long
Hi,
talk.
Lynn.
like I'm going to be 70 this year, so I wonder if it's too late for me to have a reading. If it'd be better to focus on my grandson who's 7 and his life because he has more life ahead of him.
That's a great question.
It's
Thank you.
it's it's a good time for you to have a reading so that you can understand what energies of your life you should make use of when you are spending time with your grandson. And it's going to be a good reading for your grandson because by that you will understand as to what are his positive energies that you would like to channelize and what are the challenges that he might face where you can make tweaks now so that he faces less challenges.
Thank you for that.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's great. It's never too late, Lynn. Never too late for
Yeah,
enlightenment.
it's never too late. But
Oh, good.
for kids, it's like you you get a route map before you start your journey, you know,
Yeah,
and so that is kind of very, very helpful.
yeah,
Yes.
it
Okay.
sure
Well, thank you.
is
I can
lovely.
give my own example. My son, his charts are very different than mine, you know. The kind of personality that I am, if I behave with my normal, natural personality with my son, I would ruin him. He would enter into depression, he would hate me, and so on and so forth. But because I know my chart and because I know my son's chart, I know that I have to lose my personality when I am interacting with him.
Well,
Well,
that's
that's
fascinating.
yeah,
You
isn't
know,
that
in normal circumstances, the kind of personality my son is when he was growing up,
Hmm.
I would have thrashed him, uh, abused him, beaten him up, you know. But thanks to this astrology, uh, I could tell myself that no, that part of your behavior is bad, not only for your son, but for anyone, you know.
I
And
know.
it was my understanding of my own chart that helped me curb my anger, become more patient, become more tolerant.
Hmm.
And that helped me behave better as a husband, behave better as a father to a son, behave better as a father to a daughter, and behave better as a son to my parents and my sisters. You know, so this is what it does. It kind of guides you in a way that you minimize your losses and you maximize your gains.
like that?
Interesting. May I ask another question, please?
Sure.
Okay, so I see in the, I got to say this right, the Vedic chart, I'm a Virgo. In my sun sign, I'm a Libra. Like now I'm having an identity crisis. Am I still me or with a different label?
Okay. So till the time I don't have your date, time, and place of birth, I cannot tell you for sure that you are a Virgo and that your sun sign is Libra, because uh, it could be possible that it is, but it is very likely that actually your zodiac and your sun sign and your moon sign are very different in terms of Vedic astrology.
Mm,
You know, because we calculate it from the moon, and moon is a very fast traveler in the sky, you know.
Right.
So we don't follow Western zodiac system. It is not in reference to the sun. It is in reference to the moon. And accordingly,
Yes.
your primary zodiac and your sun sign, moon sign, Jupiter sign, and all the planet signs are calculated. So it might surprise you even.
huh,
It might. Anyway, thank you for that. This is so fascinating.
Yes,
Yeah, it is. It is.
excellent.
I
That's
mean,
lovely.
Brenda, did you know that you're a Cancer ascendant before the reading?
No,
Me?
well, I've had charts done, but for me, for some reason, and I'll be honest, astrology doesn't stick in my head. I remember my basics. I have a cheat sheet. I will show you. I have a cheat sheet right here that I use
Yeah.
with just the basics on it that an astrologer gave me, but I don't retain that, and I just seem to lose my orientation with it. So, but to me, that's fascinating. Because I don't think it would be the same in Vedic astrology.
Exactly. So I'm sorry, Lynn, if we do the reading, you might be surprised to know that maybe Virgo is not your zodiac. It will be there. I mean, Virgo is definitely going to control some section of your life. But are you born in Virgo zodiac? I'm not sure. For that, I will have to actually fire your chart first.
I understand. Thank you.
Yeah.
Very nice. Very cool. Well, I will give you his information, Lynn, in a PM, and that way, if you decide you'd like to have a chart done, you can certainly reach out to Ritesh. I highly recommend it. I certainly do. It's very,
I
very
appreciate that, Brenda, and thank you, Rajesh, for all your information. It is very
fascinating. Yeah.
Thank you very
So,
much.
yeah, thank you, Ritesh. You know, we're going to do another call on Wednesday of next week. And
Yes.
think we're going to talk maybe a little bit about some crystals and other things that kind of coincide and correlate to Vedic astrology and other aspects as well. And any Ayurvedic information you have as well, please, unload it
Yeah.
on because it all
I
works together.
think I think we will discuss about uh, the energies which lead to inspirations.
Ooh,
Because interestingly, astrologically, 27th of August is a day which is celebrated in astrology as the Inspiration Day.
wonderful.
Or should I be more clear, precise? Once you have gotten an inspiration, 27th of August for this particular year is a very good day to actually take the first step towards your inspiration, you know.
Ah,
So we'll talk about inspiration specifically on 27th.
I'm so looking forward to it. I certainly am. I'm already inspired. I got to tell you right now. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's going to be a great day. Absolutely a great conversation. Thank you, Ritesh, for sure. For spending time with me today. And I know it's very early in the morning for you, and you're like coming to us from the future. You're you're
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
already. It's
Yeah.
wonderful, which is so nice. But thank you so very much, my friend, and I look forward to next Wednesday at around the same time, 2:30 p.m. my time, and we are hours in the morning of your time. And yeah, well, let's talk about inspiration and where it leads us, right? So, and what your charts and your information can certainly inspire others for and with. So,
All right. Thank you. You take care of yourself, Brenda. Thank you, Brenda. Thank you, Lynn.
thank you.
Bye.
Namaste, Ritesh. Bye now.